Welcome back to episode number 7 of the Balls and Goals podcast. It's been a while since we did this. I know. Don't say anything. We're getting there. As always, we're your two hosts. My name is Ian. I'm joined by my friend Jamie today. So, been a couple of weeks since we did this. Last time we did this, I think it looked like Arsenal bottled it, or we're going to. But they did it. They won the league.
Yeah,
it's done.
Yeah, I think it was kind of, I guess most people trying to fight off the inevitable result, because I think City just never. I guess they did bring it till the last 2 games, but I don't know. They never brought that kind of the final, that draw against Everton was just the nail in the coffin, I think.
Yeah, I think they looked close a few times to. I think around Christmas, I think the gap was 9 points around January or something like that, and then they did close it. I think City went top temporarily for 1 week or 2 weeks, and then Arsenal just pulled it back, and then it was 3 point gap and then 6 point, and then I think it ended up as a I don't want to say that I'm wrong, I think a 12 point gap in the end. It ended up as 12 points, something like that. Oh no, 4. 4 points.
But there is still a game left, so it could be at least 7 if City lose their last game.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they have Aston Villa, so fresh off a Europa League win. Maybe.
Probably pissed.
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if Aston Villa will play their best squad, because if they win the Europa League, they're guaranteed qualification for Champions League anyway. So worst case scenario, they finish 5th, and I think even then they still get Champions League because they won Europa League. So I don't know if they'll be all that hungry for a win.
I think it'll probably be both teams will just play people that have, say, probably been benched for most of the season. Yeah, and it'll just kind of, if they're losing, bring on their best players. But I don't think either team will be in the right headspace for different reasons to try win the game.
No, because City are 4 points under Arsenal. They obviously can't win, but they're also 10 points ahead of 3rd place, so they can't drop. So it doesn't really matter all that much whether they win or lose. Similar for Aston Villa. They're 6 points underneath 3rd and 3 points above 5th. So they're, at worst, they move down a place. But again, they still get Champions League, and it's a 5th place finish. That's a respectable finish. It's not really a big deal if they lose or draw.
I think it would just probably mean more for City because they're at home, and it's Guardiola's last game, so it'd be kind of
that's true, yeah.
Respect from him.
That's true. That was a pretty big thing for this week. Obviously, if you're tuned into football, Instagram or news to any level, for weeks you've probably seen the rumours that Pep is leaving, the players are gathered an unusual amount of times, or advertising for City doesn't have Pep in it, whatever it is, all these stories you always hear, but it's been officially confirmed that Pep is leaving City at the end of this season after 10 years. I think he's just being a global ambassador for City Group, so it's not like he's leaving management, but he's not leaving football. I don't know exactly what that role entails. I don't think he'll have a major say in or any say in transfers or any of that news. I think he's purely just going to be the face of City Group, pretty much.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of see him step away from that. But I guess if you look at Klopp, he did the same thing. He just left because these are fellas that have been managing for consecutive amount of years, and Klopp said that he wanted to take a break. So maybe it's time that Guardiola is just you know what, I need to reassess the situation and step in a different role.
Maybe, yeah. I'm looking here at Pep's manager career with City. He managed 592 matches with City alone. He won 423 of them and only lost 92. That is outrageous. That's an insane amount of games. And he won a lot of stuff with City. He won 3 FA Cups, 6 Premier Leagues, 1 Champions League, 5 EFL Cups, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 3 Community Shields, and the Club World Cup. Obviously, before that he was at Bayern. Before that he was at Barcelona. I mean, he started at Barcelona, I think, in the 08-09 season. So he's been managing every season since 2008, and it's 2026.
Yeah.
Give them a break.
Yeah, and like that last game was his 1,000th match as a manager.
That's wild. That's insane.
And that's what his all-time record is. He's managed 1,000 games. He's won 726 games, drew 140, and only lost 134 games.
That's insane. That is wild. Like, how do you do that? That's
like, he averages
outrageous.
2.32 points per match.
Over 500 games is, or 1,000 games. Over 1,000 games.
Yeah.
That is wild. That is insane.
Like a 73% win rate. Crazy.
That is mad. That is mad. But I suppose the other important point of him leaving is the successor for him is Enzo Maresca. I think if I remember correctly, Enzo Maresca was his assistant manager at City for a while. And then Enzo went his own way. He went to Parma in May 2021 to November of that year. He was in at Leicester from July 2023 to June the next year. And then he was at Chelsea from June 2024 to January 2026. Now, I don't inherently think that this is bad. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking here. With Chelsea, Enzo Maresca managed an average of 2 points per game. He won 55 games, drew 16, lost 21. And I don't know exactly how many total games it is. I can't do math, but that's not bad. That's not bad. With Chelsea as well, I mean, with a squad like City, he could actually do really well. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know.
It's kind of, like, I don't know, Alonso coming in, and they've had, 3 managers this season already. And
something like that, yeah.
It's like Alonso coming in from the unreal at Bayern Leverkusen to then going to Real Madrid and kind of getting, you'd say, kind of called out by all the players. Because the way they work apparently in Madrid is that the players have more power over the managers and if they want to keep them or not, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Apparently there was I think 11 people that already had voted in the committee of the players to vote him out.
Wow.
So he was more apparently Vinicius Jr. and all were going mental, and someone said that he was the reason why they weren't successful this season. Yeah,
if that's what you want to believe, sure, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. But if there's a club where the players have more power than the manager, in my opinion at least, that's a problem. Players should have power, don't get me wrong, but they should not have more than the manager. No. The manager's called manager for a reason, because he manages. So if the manager loses the dressing room, that's fine. Makes sense. Well, not fine, but in the sense of if the players no longer agree with his style or the way they play, or they're unhappy with the system, whatever it might be, and he's lost the dressing room, fair enough. But I also heard reports that Madrid didn't like him because he didn't let them go to Ibiza after they won a home game.
Yeah.
Sorry? What? They were like, oh, Zidane let us do that. Zidane was fucking years ago at this point.
I know, yeah.
I get that players are used to things being a certain way, but they have to adapt to a change. You can't, I don't know.
And how long, Zidane was there for quite a while, and that's what I feel like what happened is, it's like most, I feel like clubs is that when a new manager comes in with new kind of rules, it's like, say, getting a new teacher in skill. Like, you're so used to doing certain things and getting away with certain things, and then these people kind of are like, nah, like, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Everyone throws prams and tantrums, being like, but we were allowed to do this, like, why can't we do it now? And obviously, I think Alonso probably picked up that the whole, Real Madrid side was a bit, I guess, immature and didn't
some
really,
characters at least,
like, I just feel like they're very, I don't know how to say it, but very arrogant. Like, they're so used to being successful that when they aren't, they then just blame it on the manager.
Yeah.
And they brought your man Areola in to be like, he can try save our season, and he made it worse.
He made it fucking worse. He looked like he bowed down in front of the players, like, yes, I'll do it. You say, come on, man. He's leaving at the end of the season now as well. But looking here, Zidane was last at Real Madrid in May 2021, 5 years ago. Come on, lads, move on, would you? Like, sorry, not Zidane. I think they said Ancelotti let them go do that. But the difference was that Ancelotti could get them to win. For whatever reason, I feel like they nearly didn't win with Xabi Alonso to prove a point. I don't know. But as reports say, at least for now, I don't know if it's confirmed, but at least for now, reports say Jose Mourinho is due to take over Madrid again, and he is going to have a fun time with that squad.
Oh, he's going to kill them all.
He's going to kill them all. But anyway, getting back to Chelsea real quick, because that was where we started with this whole point anyway. But yeah, Chelsea have confirmed Xabi Alonso is a new head coach for next year. And I think that's a good person to get. And I don't think the squad for Chelsea is bad. I think it's good. And I wonder, with someone like Xabi Alonso, who in his career was a pretty masterful passer and good defensive bid and all this kind of stuff, who was really, really good. I wonder how he's going to have the midfielders, in particular, change their approach to attack. Because, lads like Cole Palmer were obviously star players a couple of years ago. And I wonder now, with his kind of methods and the kind of player that he was and what he did with Leverkusen, winning the league as Invincibles a couple of years ago, I wonder what he can do with Chelsea. Because I think that Leverkusen squad, now obviously correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there was any like major superstars other than Florian Wirtz. Great players in the squad, don't get me wrong, but not every position was like a world-class player. A couple of positions had really, really good guys, but I mean, now with Chelsea, who knows what he can do? I'm curious to see what he can do. I think it's good. I think it's not going to be bad, but I suppose wait and see.
Yeah, like, I think that's what Xabi Alonso, as you were saying, like, since being a midfielder with good passing and stuff, I think he strives off like relaying his identity into some of his players. And like, if you look at when he was, obviously we were talking about Madrid, there's no like attacking midfielder for Madrid, so you can't really implement your ideas onto that. And that's why Wirtz got such high praise for that season, is because he was probably doing stuff that Xavi knew best and wanted him to do best. And like that, getting now Cole Palmer, maybe he could turn his form around into something that he used to be like. And like that, he now has world class players nearly all over the pitch. But it'd be interesting to see if he's going to be getting given the budget that the rest of the managers have gotten before him.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, I think Chelsea would be wise to be cautious of giving managers a massive budget with the recent issues they've had with signings. The most notorious signing that didn't work out being Mudryk, who is banned for doping currently. And he was like 100 mil or 90 million euros, something like that, a couple of years ago. From what I understand, he's trying to appeal that decision on the ban. But the point is, he's been banned for, I think, 2 or 3 seasons by now.
4.
And he was 4 seasons, and he was 100 mil. So, yeah, I'd be curious as well. I wonder how much they're going to give him to spend. I even wonder who he'd want to bring in. Because, I mean, as we know, Chelsea have about 400 players. So, I wonder if the club is going to say, we'll give you this amount, but you have to get rid of this amount of lads first. Because, I mean, even looking at the squad now, they've 4 goalkeepers. I don't know why you need so many goalkeepers. 2 right backs. 3 right backs. About 7 centre backs. A lot of midfielders, a couple of wingers, and about 4 or 5 strikers. So they're not short of lads, which is good. A lot of squad depth. But the problem is, they're not short of lads. He's probably going to have to come up with, I don't know, some way of rotating the squad, keep everyone happy, but also making sure he has the best 11 with him at all times. But I think Cole Palmer's going to be, at least I hope he's going to be, like, not to be dramatic, but like reborn under Xabi Alonso. I don't think he's struggled, but he's not been as good as he was when he kind of burst onto the scene. I think his second year at Chelsea was wild. But I think I'm most curious about Cole Palmer, how he's going to be able to work with him and if he can just transform him or what he's going to do. Same with Caicedo.
Yeah.
I mean, Xabi Alonso's CDM, because Caicedo's a CDM, obviously. So I wonder how he's going to try to improve and transform him as well. I think those are the 2 I'm most curious of, is Caicedo and Palmer.
I think it's like as well, Chelsea is branded for playing like 3 at the back with 2 say wing backs, and then you have your midfielders and your attacker, and that's what I think the recent managers Chelsea have been getting in. They can't play to that system because that's what, like, all of them were trying to play, like, coming from clubs that would say play 4-3-3, and then you come to Chelsea and they're like, we'd prefer if you played 3 at the back, and then it just doesn't work. And that's what I think with Xavi, when he had Leverkusen and won the league, he played 3 at the back with the fullbacks, and I remember Grimaldo had an absolute mental season. Like, he was scoring free kicks after free kicks, and like assists, and I think both his fullbacks, Grimaldo and Frimpong, racked up 1st and 2nd assists in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, they were,
and insane. That's what. I think it's gonna really benefit Chelsea if they can keep Reece James fit. And maybe, I don't know, somehow turn Cucurella into not a meme.
Yeah, exactly. Turn him into a good defender, not just a fellow who gets his fucking hair pulled and wreathed around the pitch all game. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see, but obviously we have to wait a couple of months to really see proper change. I think at the moment, Callum McFarlane is the youth coach for Chelsea, or the B team. He's currently in charge right now, so I think this will be his final game of the season. Well, it's everyone's final game of the season, but this will be his last game in charge, and then Xabi Alonso comes in probably for pre-season, if they do a pre-season tour in the summer, and I suppose we'll see then. But interesting times. But it seems like a lot of clubs are changing managers. But one club that isn't changing manager, that is probably the best choice they could have made, is Carrick has been given a permanent deal at Manchester United until 2028. Probably the best choice that board has made in the last few years, I think.
I feel like it's... Yeah, like one thing they did that was smart, I guess. United was they didn't hand them, say, what most managers are getting is like a 4-year contract, and then it's like they get sacked after half a season, and then the clubs have to pay them for like 4 years worth of seasons.
Yeah, like I think Amarim is getting like 26 million in compensation package, which is insane.
And that's what apparently he's been looked at by, I think it was Porto or Benfica want him, but he's rejected it because he says he wants to get out of Portugal. Yeah,
I've heard the same reports. Yeah, he wants to stay abroad somewhere.
So I guess it's like, you know, Mourinho signed a 1-year contract with Benfica, and now he's gone to Real Madrid. Like, mental change in career. But that's what I think United did smart, was giving him just the 2 years, and then obviously if it doesn't work out, look, we don't have to fork out a lot of money for him. But you then also have a lot of people that don't really agree with the situation, like Roy Keane. Roy Keane thinks, United should have went from someone with a bigger managerial name, but the thing is, we haven't seen United play with Carrick, with Europe and domestic cups in between it. So it'd be interesting to see how he works around all them involved.
Yeah. I suppose I kind of get Roy Keane's point of picking someone with a bigger name, but clearly Carrick knows what he's doing with this squad. Now, as you said, I don't think they had European football when he joined. So I think I would be interested to see as well how they deal with that next season. So I had a look earlier before we started here. Now, before Carrick took over, Manchester United had played 21 games and they were sitting 7th place with 32 points. And at the end of the season now, obviously they still have their game tomorrow, so this is the most up-to-date number. They're sitting 3rd place at the minute, so from 7th to 3rd, and they have got 68 points. And because of the amount of points they have, they cannot go up, because City have about 10-point gap, and they can't drop down. So he brought them from 7th to 3rd, which doesn't sound like a huge achievement, but it is. I saw another calculation as well, that if you calculated the amount of points gained from when he took over in January to now, he'd be at top of the table. So yeah, maybe Roy Keane is fair to say, they should have picked someone with bigger experience. But if Carrick is doing a good job since he took over, I don't think manager experience, I don't think changing the system when they have it locked down is going to do anybody any favours. So yeah, I'm not a professional, but I think this is probably a good choice to at least try. They don't have to enter the manager market now to find someone. They don't have to convince, a Jose Mourinho or a Zidane, or, well, not that they'd get either of those, but, probably not Zidane, but they don't have to convince someone and pay them, as you said. They don't have to give them a 4-year contract, pay them 20 million a season, sack them after 6 months, and then they're owed 50 million compensation. This is Michael Carrick played like 400 games for United. If things go south, I have a feeling he'd probably say, look lads, don't worry about it, gave it a shot, let's just give me half the money I'm owed and I'll move on or something. If it did go to shit, I don't think Carrick would demand money over this.
I think it's United are also trying to avoid the same situation that Ollie had, but personally, I don't think Ollie's seasons were bad. We were finishing 2nd and 3rd with the seasons he was there. It was just the fact that the United were setting such high standards for him, that he couldn't meet them, and this was more or less nearly his first proper managerial career, and to finish 2nd and 3rd, and I think win the FA Cup, what he did was just something that you thought would be enough. And then you've Carrick now, who's done an unbelievable second half to the season, redeemed them from what they could have been. out of Europe again. And like, look, I think he has every shot to do it, and I think, as you said, trying to convince a big name to join would be impossible after the last few seasons United have had, because you know, say if Luis Enrique became available now during the summer,
not a chance.
He would not
that
touch
he would
United. You know what I mean?
Not a chance.
Like, in a sense, for managerial career, we've lost, I think, the benefit of big names coming, because all we had was, say, Alex Ferguson, and then we had a few other big names, like when David Moyes came in, Louis van Gaal, but they didn't do what United expected them to do. And it's now just kind of like the players will still come to United because it's United. I think it's just the managers won't come because they don't believe in it.
It's that's a fair point as well. I think it's funny that whenever you hear transfer rumours of players joining, like, oh, you know, it's Manchester United, it's my dream, I always wanted to play for them, or the kind of like, oh, when United call, you know, it's hard to turn them down. They, as you said, they might not be achieving the same heights as they did when Sir Alex was in, but it's not like they're getting relegated like another big six. So you know, I mean, they're still finishing high up the table. I mean, I'm looking here at their history, and they finished out of a Champions League spot maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the last kind of 12-ish years, give or take. So it's not like they're losing out on Europe every year, and that's Champions League. I mean, if we're talking about Europa League, it looks like they only haven't qualified for Europe maybe twice in the last couple of years. So, like, they're not doing dreadful. Like, they're doing well, not as good as they used to be, sure. But another, I guess I'm interested as well to see who Carrick can bring in over the summer. You know, finishing third in the Premier League, that's a big achievement. So I wonder who he's going to be able to draw in. Now, if reports are true, it looks like Barcelona are going to activate Marcus Rashford's transfer clause. I think about €30 million. So Marcus Rashford gone. Now, obviously, his performance has dipped quite a lot in the last few years for United, but it looked like he found himself again under Hansi Flick with, you know, Lamine Yamal and Rafinha and Lewandowski. It seemed like he picked himself back up. So if he went to United, I wonder if that form would continue or if it wouldn't. But either way, if Barcelona activate his transfer deal, I think about 30 million, like I said, that's freeing up probably a couple of $100,000 in wage for United. That's giving them 30 million, and that's freeing up. I think Rashford had the number 10 at United, or at least, or no, Cunha has that now. So I don't know what number he had, but that's quite a valuable transfer for United as well. So, do you take the risk and try to convince him to come back, even though he seems really happy at Barcelona, or do you just take the cash, free up a couple of $100,000 in the wage, and try to get someone else? So I think they're probably better moving on without him, because he seems pretty happy at Barcelona. Yeah. So I don't think it would benefit anybody if they pulled him back and said, "Nah, you're coming back."
And I think it makes sense. Yeah, like when the England squad was announced there the other day, I think Rashford made his point quite clear by not mentioning anyone from United for helping him get into this England squad. And you know, you have to say it's fair enough. Like, he literally went straight from a loan at Villa to then Barcelona, so it's not like he had been at United at any point. But I think it's United at the moment need to take money where they can get it, because you know, I feel like we're so used to spending huge money on players, and then next of all, you get them, they're brutal, and you sell them then for like half the price. And I think Ten Hag is a fella that we're still trying to filter out a few of his bad signings that he's left us with. And like, if you look at Onana, like when he comes back, he's guaranteed to be gone, because I don't even think Carrick wants anything to do with him.
I wouldn't either.
And then Højlund, like he looks unreal for Napoli, and I think that's just because he's a player that suits Serie A with big strikers, and that's 40 million then. And then you have Rashford who's going, and he said that he's taking a pay cut, I think, for going to Barcelona, and that's what I'd say. United would be like, look, we said 30 million, but we'll give them to you for like, I don't know, like 18 or 20, just to get him, as you said, off the books, frees up money. Casemiro's gone.
That's true. He was on, I think, I think Casemiro was on like 300 grand a week or something, if reports are true. Something fucking outrageous. That's a lot of money freed up as well.
I mean, he's a player that came in like Varane with probably the biggest stature than any current player that was at United at the time, so I think the money had to be given to him.
Even still though, that's a lot of money. I mean, 300 grand a week. That is insane. But I think we'll see. I think it does make sense, like you're saying, for Barcelona want to keep him. He's not happy at United. That post on Instagram, like you said, pretty clear that he's trying to force their hand, maybe, to just say, fuck it, go on, stay there, go on, enjoy the sun. And I think a couple of years ago, if I remember right, United were in transfer, like, difficult talks with Marcus Rashford over contract talks because he wanted money that they couldn't promise him. And now they hear he's taking a pay cut to stay at Barcelona. They must be like, fucking lad over here's taking a pay cut to join them, but he'd stiffen us out of 200 grand a week or whatever it was. That's when you know that, okay, if he's taking a pay cut, forget it, move on. It's not worth the hassle probably at this rate.
There's obviously so much expectation that was put on his shoulders from when he started, like, coming out with the youth academy. I remember his first season, like, he was scoring goals and everyone was like, oh my god, he's going to be like the next fucking like top talent of the club. And then I think he just got brought up in the wrong era of United to show he was a top talent,
maybe.
And if you look at, say, Kobe Mainoo now, he's a talent from the academy who's also English. Carrick is like revitalised his career. He's unbelievable. So now are people gonna look at him and be like, look, you're gonna have to live up to this high standards? Because it seems like he's doing it, because he apparently was on the verge of leaving during the January window because he was unhappy with the amount of game time, and now he's probably the best holding midfielder like that I'd say I've seen in a long time. And I know Casemiro's there and he's had an unreal end to the season at the Premier League for United, but to be like Kobe Mainoo's age and doing what he's doing, like, is unbelievable. So I just hope he isn't ruined as much as Rashford has been.
Now, saying that, in fairness, Rashford has been very good for United. I'm looking at his history here. His first season was the 15-16 season, which was FIFA 16, hard to believe. 18 games, 8 goals, 2 assists. 10 goals, assists in 18 games for first season as a pro. That's pretty impressive in the senior team. And if we think back to that senior team at the time, Wayne Rooney was there. Michael Carrick was a player back then. So Michael Carrick was playing back then. I think Victor Valdez joined that window. In goalkeeper, they had, I think, Phil Jones and Chris Smalling were the starting centre-back partnership at that time. So, now obviously Marcus Rashford not going to take Phil Jones' spot, but what I'm saying is it was a great squad. It was a great squad. So, and then the next season, 11 goals. Next year, 13, 22, 21, 5 goals, 30 goals. So 2021 season, 32 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. Interesting to say that that's also the season I think Cristiano came back. So form dipped a little bit that year, but then the next year, 56 games, 30 goals, 9 assists. He picked it back up. But then he got 8 goals the next year, 7 the next year, 4 with Aston Villa the next year. And now he has 14 goals and 11 assists with Barcelona this year. So his form, it kind of went up for a while, dipped back up, dipped again, back up, dipped again, and then slowly came back up. Now, he's not like, in football terms, he's getting there in terms of age. He's 28. He still has, he probably still has 7 good years ahead of him. If he manages, he's going to slow down over the years as he gets older. He's going to get a little bit slower. But if he manages to, find ways around it, like players that relied on speed, just became great at a certain position. Like, for example, when Ronaldo was a left winger at Madrid when he was fast, as he got older and his pace came back, he kind of transitioned more to a central role. And he's still Ronaldo, like, okay, yeah, he's playing in Saudi. You can't really compare that to the quality. But when he was at United, when he was like 38, he was still banging in 15, 20 goals. So, I mean, if Rashford can figure out how to play without speed, he can probably still have a couple of good years ahead of him. So, 30 million to Barcelona, that might end up being a bargain. It might be. Oh, fucking who knows? We'll find out next year probably. But it's, I think people, like you said, Casemiro leaving, Rashford probably leaving, and Onana most likely going to try and get him out. You're probably looking at, Casemiro's a free agent, so obviously no money out for him, but they're saving a couple of $100,000 in wages. You're probably looking at nearly 50 million total, give or take, with the money freed up by these lads. So 50 mil ish on top of whatever budget they're giving him. He could have a lot of money to get some serious lads in. And like you said, with Kobbie Mainoo kind of being nearly rediscovered with Carrick, as Amorim kind of seemed to not favour him for whatever reason. And he seems to be shining under Carrick. I wonder who he's going to get in and where. I think with Senne Lammens, they've solved that major problem they had last year with Onana letting in every ball that seemed to be kicked with a gust of wind. It seemed like they've solved that problem. So I'd be curious to see who they bring in next year over the window, or this year over the window. I wonder.
I think that's what they were saying, is that they want to get a kind of 2 midfielders and a winger, and I don't know if it's a left back or a right back. And apparently there's going to be like loads of, say, loans. I don't think Xerxes going to last the pre-season. I think United will probably go for another youngish striker just to kind of be a backup to Sesko, because we don't really have 2 strikers on the bench. I know Xerxes is great, and I know some people actually like Xerxes, but I think he's more, I don't know, he's such a weird player. Like, he could play as like a centre forward, but not an out and out striker.
Yeah, he's a bit of a strange lad like that, I think, to say the least. But Sesko's been picking it up last couple of weeks. Now obviously he's injured now, so he's expected to be back July, so he's got a couple of weeks ahead of him to rest up. But as you said, looking at the squad, there's not many out and out strikers. I mean, with Højlund, from what I know, all but confirmed, or maybe has been confirmed by now, sticking at Napoli.
I think it's
they've lost
confirmed.
Striker now. Yeah, so looking at their list of players on here, they've Matheus Cunha, Xerxes, which, as you said, you're not really sure how he's going to last over the next few months in pre-season. Brian Mbumo, Sesko, Chido Obi, and Shea Lacey. I think Shea Lacey's from the academy. But besides Sesko, you don't really have an out-and-out striker. Maybe Cunha, but I would class him more as an attacking mid than an out-and-out striker. So, I think that probably is a good place to look for backup. But then the question is who? I mean, you know what I think would be interesting? This is probably never going to happen. But with recent news that Lewandowski's leaving as a free agent from Barcelona, I mean, maybe they can convince him. I've no idea, probably not. But that would be kind of funny to see that.
I think a few people had mentioned it around United about Lewandowski coming, but I think we've done it so much throughout the years and it has never worked out. Like, the only person I think that we signed that was in their 30s as a striker, when we got, say, Ronaldo back, Ibra back, and like, it's just, I think only certain people do, because you don't want to, say, bring Lewandowski in and the next fall Sesko doesn't play. But then you don't want to bring Lewandowski in and he doesn't play. You know what I mean? It's just,
it's a tough balance.
It's tough.
It's tough, alright, yeah. I don't know. I suppose we'll find out next few months. I mean, I think an important thing to maybe remember is that obviously the World Cup was up this summer. Now, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure how many countries have qualified that are part of the United squad. But, for example, we saw we know Rashford's being called up, but again, it looks like he's kind of on his way out, so not a big deal. I think Bruno Fernandes was called up, so I wonder if lads at the World Cup, if they get injured, how bad or how much is that going to change Carrick's plans? Because not only, like, it's going to be held in the States, so lots of travel, lads are going to be exhausted. Some of the stadiums, you're going to have to catch a flight from one game to the next for cities, and even the heat as well. That's going to be a major part. Now, I mean, obviously, heat doesn't really you're not going to get injured just because it's hot outside, but
get burned.
What I mean is, like, World Cup is a big thing. Lads want to win the World Cup. They want to make their country proud of them. They want to best represent their country. So for lads that are going from United squad, or even squads in the Premier League, any team, we're seeing more now these days that ACL injuries and pretty big injuries are becoming more common, sadly. Like Xavi Simons from Tottenham just did his ACL there a couple of weeks ago. He's obviously not going to the World Cup now. So if an injury like that happens, especially with all the travel these guys are doing, if these guys are starters for their teams and they're going to play the World Cup, then they come back and then they're playing another season with European football and domestic cups and the league, and then 2028 I think we'll have the Euros. So then these top lads go from playing a full league season, maybe European football depending on their club, go to the World Cup, come back, another league season, more European football, and depending on where they're from, straight to the Euros, and then again do it next year. Someone is going to get badly injured. Who it's going to be and how badly it affects their team, another question. But if enough United lads are called up, or even City lads or Chelsea are called up, and they get fucking obliterated at the World Cup, I wonder how much that's going to change transfer decisions between clubs.
Like, I think that's what happened. I think it was one of the Euros, I remember. Someone, like, it was literally near the end of the tournament, and a team, I can't remember who it was, but I remember it was like a big player ended up getting injured, and it was literally like the club being lastminute.com, like trying to, I think it might have been Arsenal, and that's what I think. Obviously Kai Havertz getting injured, nothing strange about that, but I think Kai Havertz got injured in the Euros for Germany, and the next fall, that's when did it that Arsenal signed Gabriel Jesus. I'm not 100%
and then
sure.
He fucking got injured as well.
Yeah,
so the scramble again.
Yeah, so that's what I remember. They ended up signing someone, then that person got injured, and then they had no actual out and out striker. They were playing as like 3 wingers up top.
Essentially, yeah.
Oh no, they had your man. He's still at Arsenal. He got injured there. The Spanish fella, Moreno.
Oh, Mikel Merino, yeah.
Yeah, they had him as a striker for like last season.
I think in fairness, he did quite well as a striker, but he's not a natural striker, what? Yeah. So, I don't know. I suppose we'll find out. I mean, the window opens 1st of July, but the World Cup will still be happening at that time, I'm pretty sure. So, who knows, man? Who knows? I suppose we'll probably find out pretty soon. But yeah. And then we mentioned it at the beginning, I mentioned it earlier, but as tomorrow is the final, I think this will be our final topic before we wrap up, but tomorrow is the final game of the season. The last game. Now, Arsenal have won the league, confirmed. City came second, confirmed. Liverpool are probably going to finish either 4th or 5th, depending on their last game. But Spurs still might get relegated. If West Ham win their game and Spurs lose, it's over. So, I mean, I think for the first kind of half season it was a joke, and then around January it was a bit like, shit, this is getting a bit close. And then I think about 2 weeks ago they actually dropped into the zone and they won a game and came back up. But now, literally, they have to win their next game. They have to win, or at the very minimum they have to draw, because if Tottenham draw and West Ham win, goal difference will keep Tottenham up. You don't want to rely on goal difference though. You just want to get the flat out win. So I wonder. I mean, I didn't think it would come down to be this close, but it is. It's coming down very close. And if we look at the last game for each club, Tottenham are playing Everton. So they're playing Everton tomorrow. And then let me get West Ham's game up. West Ham are playing Leeds. So Leeds have been doing well recently. So I think
it's kind of. I think David Moyes said in his press conference there the other day that he loves West Ham and he wouldn't want West Ham to go down. And he said it as in like, he said I'm not trying to win or beat Spurs to favour West Ham. He's saying like more or less that he wants to do it to benefit Everton.
West Ham,
And currently like Everton it's impossible, but they could get European football if they end up beating Spurs like 3-0 and Chelsea and Brentford lose and Chelsea end up losing 7 or 8-0.
That's a big if.
Yeah, so realistically I'm trying to point it out that there is no chance. So
pretty much,
I think for the teams that Tottenham and West Ham are playing, they don't give a shit. Where for West Ham and Tottenham, it's like the biggest fucking game of their season. So
literally, yeah.
It's gonna be like, do Leeds go out and be like, look, we're gonna start all our young fellas that haven't played because we're safe, we can't get relegated? Or are they gonna be like, we want to win our last game of the season, but they're also away, and both teams I think are away, so it's kind of like, well, Everton just throw their young fellas out because they have nothing to win or lose. It's
who knows, yeah.
It's hard to see, but like I could not picture West Ham going down, but then if Spurs went down, it would just be really funny.
It would be. It'd be pretty funny, but like I was thinking earlier today, like if Spurs managed to stay up, who can they even sign? Who would want to go to Spurs after that?
I don't know. Like, it's tough.
How can they recover after? Like, it's gonna take them a couple of years probably to recover, I think, from this, because, like, from obviously I've never been professional, but if I get an offer from Spurs and I go, fuck, now they nearly got relegated last year, I don't want to be part of that. Because if you're signed by a big club for, say, I don't know, 30, 40 million, and then the club doesn't do well and they maybe get relegated, they're going to be like, oh, fucking, wasted 40 million on this guy, he didn't even do anything. So, like, any big money signing or mid-tier money signing might get fingers pointed at them if Tottenham do bad again next year. No one wants that. So if they manage to stay up this year, who can they even sign? I mean, some of their big players are out injured for a while. Christian Romero seems like he's been trying to force his way out for months at this stage. And I think Atletico Madrid are rumoured to want him. So let's assume he's gone for the sake of the argument's sake. Then they've lost their captain. And then Xavi Simons, one of their high-profile signings for I think about 70 million, something like that, he tore his ACL, like we said earlier. He's out for a couple of months, again, at least. Yeah. And then they have like 3 of their 7 forwards are injured, or 3 of 5, whatever it is. So they have to sign someone. That's not a question. They got to sign someone. And it's not, I don't know if it's a question of who do they want to sign. I think it's more of a question of who can they sign. How much money is the manager going to get to sign someone? And if they, if the manager gets, let's say 70 million for the sake of it, who would even want to look at Tottenham and go, yeah, I'll go there? Because after a season like that, I have a feeling a lot of players would turn their heads away from Tottenham to be like, I don't want any of that. I don't want to be relegated or be associated with that.
And I feel like one thing that Tottenham have done, though, which, say, in a difference for United in a way, but this hasn't worked for them, is that they've actually signed or gotten top class managers. Like getting Thomas Frank in, like everyone was like, Jesus Christ, like Spurs are gonna be unbelievable. He ended up shitting the bed. Then it's like, I think what was it, they brought in your man Tigor, whatever, I think he used to be the Juventus manager.
Oh yeah, Igor Tudor, and he was even fucking worse.
He was worse. But then somehow they've now managed to get a Serbi in. Yeah. And that's what I feel like, we're talking about who will they sign. Marseille have after getting European football, so I think it'd be hard for them to try convince anyone from Marseille to come play for Spurs. Yeah. So I really think it's how many players like and trust the Serbi more to go to Spurs than for them to go for Spurs because of its name.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. I think it's going to be very difficult to get lads to come over. I mean, like you said, even if he tries to convince lads from Marseille to come over, why would they leave European football to come to a club that just fought relegation and may or may not still go down? Like, if I was any of that Marseille squad and Robert's like, oh, come over here to England, I'd say, fuck off, would you? I'm staying here in Europe.
Well, there's one player that can't come back to England, so
yeah, I wasn't gonna wasn't not let's not name him, but I think everyone knows who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But like, let me take a look here and see what position at Marseille are in the league. I think they finished relatively high up. 5th. They finished 5th, so they're in Europa League next season. Did they finish? I think they might have a couple of games left. No, they're finished. So they're guaranteed Europa League next season for Marseille. So Europa League, Premier League relegation. I know which one I wouldn't want if I was any of them. Unless he can convince players who were subs or young players to come over. That's about the only scenario I can picture him convincing someone from Marseille to come over. I cannot picture him getting any of the stars from that squad over from to Spurs. Not a chance.
Because the only reason I feel like they got Xabi Simons is because they were like, look, we're in Champions League now because we won the Europa League. this is gonna be your like life for every season now is Champions League guarantee, and now like they're screwed.
Yeah. In fairness to them, they almost did it. They nearly beat Atletico, but then Atletico just pulled it out and fucking whitewashed them out of nowhere. So they nearly had it.
It's just going to be funny that no matter what way tomorrow goes, there's a guaranteed 30,000 plus stadium in the Championship.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a wild
crazy
to think of. Crazy. Anyway, I think that's a good place to finish. We're closing in on an hour, so look, thank you so much for listening to episode number 7 of the Balls and Goals podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well, where we post kind of little jabs at clubs as well, and keep you up to date with all the information. But thank you so much for listening. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the listeners before we check out for this week?
Look, thanks for listening for this week. It's been a bit of a gap in between, but things happen, and that's what, I think it's all primed up to be prepared for next season, because we came into this, I guess, halfway through it, so we're kind of, next season will be, state of the art, like shit. So
absolutely. Perfect. Well, look, thank you so much for listening again. Make sure, if you have any friends you think would enjoy this, make sure to tell them. And if you have people in your life you think wouldn't enjoy this, maybe don't tell them. But thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.